We're not just put on this earth to consume and then die. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Yolanda Melody. Today's video is gonna be how to know if you are going through a spiritual awakening. This really should have been one of the first videos that I did when I started doing spiritual content on my channel. And just for the record, if you've clicked onto this video, I can pretty much say that you are going through a spiritual awakening. Because if you're even questioning it, then... So everyone's spiritual awakening is obviously very different. However, from the research that I've done and the people that I've spoken to, and also taking from my own experience, there are a lot of similarities and reoccurring patterns that most of us go through. One thing to also note is that in the past 2 years, a lot of people's lives have been shaken up completely, which has sparked a spiritual awakening. And I also believe that collectively, more people are waking up on a mass scale than ever before. And for a lot of people right now, it is overwhelming given all of the rest of the chaos that's going on in the world and the deception, the persuasion to go onto the dark side, the temptation to numb yourself, because an awakening a lot of the time can be quite uncomfortable, like I say. So let's jump in at the deep end, shall we? Sign number 1. You lose all your friends. Point blank. Maybe not all of them. An awakening is a personal experience, and I believe it happens at divine timing. And I also believe that people come into our lives for a purpose because the energy is right at that time. Say, for example, you had a bunch of friends, you all used to go drinking together on nights out, you'd go to the cinema and eat popcorn and watch movies, you'd gossip about people. When you have a spiritual awakening, suddenly none of those things interest you anymore. You start perceiving life very differently. You suddenly start to become conscious of the food that you're eating and what you put into your body and how it's making you feel, because your awareness is expanding, and because of that you can feel extra sensitive to near enough everything. But what's actually happening is, it's not that you're becoming more sensitive necessarily, it's that you were numb before. Now, I'm not speaking for absolutely everyone. Like I say, everyone's spiritual awakening is different. For me, for example, I have always been quite spiritual. I've always been extremely empathic, but I've still had further spiritual awakenings, because once you start to awaken, that's it. It doesn't stop. You think you know everything, and then you realise that you don't. Belief systems shatter and crumble, and then you rebuild again. And each time you rebuild, you become almost like a new, fresh version of you. It's like you've got a new skin. But anyway, back to the friends, because this is a biggie. Your spiritual awakening will always be the catalyst for you having certain revelations. So say, for example, if your friendship group is used to gossiping. Gossiping is a very low energy, low vibe. It's a shitty thing to do. It's not productive. It creates bad karma. And people who are quite numb do it because they're craving some form of excitement. If you imagine the energy that they're looking for, it's like, it's spiky, up and down, you know? So they gossip because it gives them a feeling of excitement. Despite how negative it is, it's better to them than feeling numb. But once you start to awaken, you start to lose interest in anything that is low energy, because your vibe literally shifts. When you awaken, you start to feel so interested in the things that you can't see. You become hyper aware of energy. Small talk starts to really grate on you because it's dead energy. I will say this now, yeah. I have always hated small talk. I can't stand it. When people say, "Hi, how are you?" "Oh, I'm good." "You?" "Yeah, I'm really good, thanks." To me, firstly, it's fake, right? You can feel that it's fake because you don't have the option of turning around and saying, "Oh, I'm actually not good," Because most of the time when people say, hey, how are you? They're not doing it because they actually care about how you feel. They're doing it because they are programmed to say this specific sentence. It's more like a greeting that's just extended. If you go deeper into small talk, it's even worse. You go to a party, for example, and you meet someone new. The first thing that they ask you is, how are you? And you have to say that you're doing good, even if you're not. Then what they next do is ask you what you do for a living, to ascertain how they should treat you. Some people could say that they just ask this question because that's what you're supposed to ask. That's what everybody else does. One of the first questions you're always asked is, what do you do for a job, so that I can ascertain how much money you earn so that I know how to treat you. I know that most of you guys get exactly what I'm saying here. There might be some people watching that are like shook by this statement, but this is what happens when you awaken. You see the lie. You see past the illusion of everything. Maybe not all of it straight away. Maybe the cogs just start ticking, you know? I don't know if that's the right phrase, but... And then if you go deeper into the small talk, you'll end up talking about the weather or the news. And it is the most frustrating thing when you feel this godlike energy like running through you. You know that you are on a high vibe. And then when you're put in situations where you have to dim your energy and lower yourself down a few pegs so that you can come across as normal, it just sucks. So that's that section. So you become a complete and utter social outcast. Don't worry though, you're winning. You're in the better position here. Okay, this is a big one. Your dreams. Your dreams will become more intense. You will remember them more. You may start to have biblical dreams that contain symbolism, signs. You can even see premonitions in your dreams or get deja vu. Anything to do with dreams is connected to your spirituality. If a person doesn't remember their dreams or they feel like they don't dream at all, that is a sign that there is some kind of disconnect with their spirit. And that's not me trying to diss anyone, obviously. There are some periods in my life where I've not remembered my dreams at all, or I've not had any dreams, and that's usually happened during a time where I have been completely disconnected from my spirit. And there's a lot of practical things that you can do in your day-to-day life that end up diminishing your cognitive ability, and there's so many ways to put yourself in a trance, and there's so many opportunities to numb yourself in this day and age. It doesn't surprise me that there's so many people out there that don't dream anymore. Okay, next thing. You may start to feel intuitively that you don't want to eat certain things anymore. Maybe you used to eat meat, now all of a sudden it freaks you out. Maybe you used to have sweets, chocolate, crisps, and all of a sudden you start to notice just how crappy those things make your body feel afterwards. Like the ill effects from eating bad food suddenly really intensify. And again, this isn't because you're more sensitive, it's that you were numb before and now you are awakening to what's really going on. Okay, so next thing, things that felt good before no longer feel good. And often because of habit and because we are creatures of comfort, we try to enjoy those things and we just end up disappointed. So what kind of things am I talking about? Drinking alcohol and getting slaughtered, going to casinos, going to fun fairs, going to the cinema, then getting a McDonald's. I'm not saying that you're going to become a killjoy, but you may have perceived that these things made you feel really good once upon a time. Now you just kind of feel like indifferent about it. Especially the cinema thing, because what also happens is you start to see the symbolism and the brainwashing and the propaganda In everything. This is especially true for me recently, because like I said earlier, you have different stages to your awakening. It is a never-ending journey. Everything is supposed to move up, so we're always progressing. But because of how much I know now about symbolism, I can tell you now, no matter where you go, every single mainstream thing that is out there has some form of subliminal message, or multiple subliminal messages, and they're not positive ones either. So this becomes especially true when you start researching about things and learning about symbolism and mythology. But even if you know nothing about that, your intuition will tell you and bring certain things to light, and you'll start to look at things and go, why is that the way that is? Why is it that in every horror movie the people do the wrong thing? What is that trying to teach us? Why is the morals in this story so twisted, upside down? Why is it that there is so much gore and violence in films? We've all seen the most horrific things, and we've never even experienced them in real life, but we have become desensitized to it because we've seen so much of it in films. You know what I mean? And it's like, why did the people who made this film want to even put this idea out there for people to copy, you know? So you start to have revelations like that, and then if you're hanging out with your old friends, they'll all start looking at you like you're weird. They'll be like, just enjoy the movie. It's just a film. Why are you feeling empathy? It's not real. Okay, so now we're moving on to some of the great things that happen when you're awakening. And just to note, all the previous things that I've mentioned, I do see them as a positive. If you lose all of your friends because you're elevating, there's no need to judge them, but at the end of the day, you are going on your path. And if you don't resonate with those friends anymore, it's not the end of the world. It's better for you to go on your own for a bit and carry on bettering yourself until eventually you find people that are at your level. So one of the big things that happens is you start to get loads of new ideas, and a lot of the time it'll be like no-brainers. You'll be like, why did I never think of this before? Because your awareness is expanding, you're starting to see things from all different angles. To put it simply, you become more intelligent. You might suddenly get a lot better at your job, you become more switched on, or you might just decide that that job sucks and you don't want to do that job anymore. You want to start your own business. A lot of awakening is just to do with unraveling brainwashing. It's almost like so many of us have got like a hardened shell of brainwashing, and it's like we can't see the truth. And suddenly when you awaken, it's like your eyes are open. Suddenly you can see. This is why a lot of people use the term asleep and awake, because it is literally like you can suddenly see everything. So you develop new ways of thinking, your cognitive ability just skyrockets, your intuition will improve, and it will get louder and louder. In fact, I have a whole video about intuition on my channel. Your intuition is what guides you through life, and it is a psychic ability which all of us can access. It's just for some people it hasn't been properly awakened yet. Speaking of psychic moments, you will become more psychic. You'll start to guess things to a point where it's actually a little bit scary, but at the same time it feels good, because when you have these psychic moments, it's like confirmation that this 3D world that we live in is only like this much of the story. Okay, here's one that can be a bit uncomfortable. So you will become more empathic, and sometimes it can be, for me, it's really uncomfortable sometimes. I have always been able to feel the energy of music and the emotion connected to it. I've always felt huge empathy if someone else is hurt, if someone has got a bad vibe. I can feel everything really, really strongly, and for me it is very overwhelming. I can confidently say someone can pretend to be in a good mood, or they can be the best actor in the world, but I will be able to feel if their energy is off. And that's one of the reasons why if someone is upset, I want to help them work through that problem, because the energy shifts when they start to feel better. Another thing that you may experience probably will experience is the difference between the feeling of when you're in nature and when you are in the city or in an area that is full of technology and a lot of man-made constructions and stuff. So when I go out into the garden, I can feel the energy of nature, and it's rejuvenating, it's healing, it's energizing. When I go to a shopping centre, which I haven't done in a very long time, I avoid them like the plague, but I will come back and I will feel awful. I will just feel absolutely exhausted, even if I go there for like an hour, because I'm picking up not just all of this energy from other people, but it's the sensory overload from the adverts and the music, and then the adverts in the music, bright flashing lights, technology overload. A lot of people, if they're not awakened, they don't realise what kind of an effect all of this stuff has on them. And this is why so many people get ill, and they have no idea what has caused it. The fact is, if you are conscious, if you are aware of how your body feels, you will feel if something's not right. And when you feel that something's not right, you can usually identify what is causing you to feel not right. If I have a chocolate bar, for example, I will feel really crap afterwards. So it incentivizes me to just make sure that I'm eating good food. But if a person is numb, say for example, let's go on the way extreme. If you're addicted to painkillers and you tear a ligament, if you have had a large amount of painkillers, you won't feel the pain, so you'll just carry on. And you might walk, you might run, and if you can't feel the pain, which is the signal that your body is sending to your brain to tell you something's wrong, then you will damage that ligament more and more and more, and then potentially end up with a really bad injury. Your body is a tool, guys. Respect it. Because we've only got one body. Okay, next thing is you will have a boost in creativity. Now, I strongly believe that everyone on this earth is creative. Deep down. It's just some of us have had it beaten out of us. But I believe that every single person is a creator. Therefore, when you have your spiritual awakening, you start to become aware of your purpose. We're not just put on this earth to consume and then die. To me, that's a very empty life. There's no purpose in consuming. Yeah, it's nice to treat yourself and to have a nice experience in this life. Just one. One nice experience. Please. No, I'm kidding. We are creators. Simple. That's it. Whether that's creating artwork, whether that's creating new perspectives, maybe that's writing a book, maybe that's doing a painting, maybe that's creating an invention that's going to help people. The real satisfaction comes in life when you are giving and contributing. People only want to consume when they feel like there's a void. And most of us do feel like there's a void because this is how the system has been created, to make us feel empty. But I tell you what, the joy from giving and creating is like no other, and you realise that when you awaken. And it feels great because it's free. You don't have to buy your creation. You may have to buy the tools, you know, like the camera, the lighting, the computer, the editing software, the microphone. Anyway, I'm going off topic. Talking about me again. Another thing is that your sleeping patterns can change quite dramatically. When I watched all these awakening videos like a few years ago, everyone said that you would start to wake up when the sun rises and go to sleep when the sun sets. That didn't happen for me. I am kind of the belief that some people are just night owls and some people are early birds, and I'm telling you now, no matter how much I try, I am always going to default to night owl. Another thing is as well, because you can get such an excited energy from your awakening, it can cause you to be so full of energy that you don't want to sleep. And that can kind of mess up your sleeping pattern as well. If you're one of those lucky people that actually does end up syncing themselves with the sun, then good for you. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it gave you some clarification and also made you feel less alone, because a lot of the time the spiritual awakening journey does come at the same time as the dark night of the soul. For a lot of us, a bad or traumatic situation can actually be the catalyst for your awakening. So, I just want you to know that you are definitely not alone. There are millions of people who are awakening right now. You might feel like an oddball in your small village or small town, but we all feel the same. It's pretty much the same for a lot of us. Personally, I just feel like we've just been dotted around the world deliberately so that we feel lonely as fuck. No, I'm joking. Kind of not joking. Anyway, thank you so much for watching till the end. Let me know if you want me to do a video about my personal spiritual journey, because I feel like I haven't really gone into it. I try my hardest to make these videos about you guys as opposed to about me, but I always end up talking about me. Ew. Oh, I hope that didn't show up on camera. Whatever. What was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh yeah. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because I do all types of videos about spirituality and self-development. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop it a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Love you, bye!